Well, we got the college football playoff rankings came out the other day, and we're gonna preview on today's show. We're gonna preview all the major conference championship games that can shake up and will affect the college football playoff pairings that will be released on Sunday. Plus, I'm going to do a little bit of a deep dive because we're all thinking about it. I think we're all talking about it. How can we fix the college football playoff in the future? I'm going to give you what I think should, just a little something to throw out there to let you stew on how I think the college football playoff can be fixed. And then we're going to dive into tonight's big time Cowboys versus Lions matchup. And I'm going to give you who I think teams in the AFC and the NFC that need big wins this weekend to keep their playoff hopes alive. We're going to get into all that today, right here in the Total Sports Ozone. Big O with the big mouth coming at you on a Thursday, December 4th, 2025. And then week 13, or was it 14? NFL will kick off this week tonight with a big matchup in the NFC with the Dallas Cowboys taking on the Detroit Lions. We're going to do a deep dive into that matchup a little later on. But first, college football playoffs. It's coming down to the end now. We got conference championship games Friday and Saturday. And the major college football playoff bracket will be revealed Sunday afternoon. But let's get into the conference championship games. The ones I'm gonna look at the ones that are going, let's face it, the ones that are going to affect our final college football playoff rankings and pairings. There's 5 of them. There's 5 college conference championship games that will affect those pairings and rankings this weekend. 2 of them are big time. 2 of those conference championship games are going to determine who gets in and who don't. We're going to look at those 2 first. 2 of those. And those 2 are the ACC championship game and the Big 12 championship game. I bet you there are a lot of schools out there that are eyeballing both, will be eyeballing both of those matchups this weekend. And I'm talking about Miami, Notre Dame, even Alabama if they lose the SEC championship. But Miami, Notre Dame, even Texas, you can throw them in. Vanderbilt, you can throw those teams in. They're going to be eyeballing these matchups this weekend. Those 2 in particular, the Big 12 and the ACC, because they're in all likelihood. Let's preview the ACC championship game first. That game will be I believe, night game. That's a night game, I'm not mistaken. Yes. ACC championship game is the night game. Probably the latest one. Because that game will start 8 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. You got Duke and Virginia. Now, we all know no matter what Duke does, they're not getting in to the college football playoff. We all know this. The committee is not gonna let Duke in. Even if they win the ACC with 5 losses. That's not happening. But the thing is, if Duke wins, 1 or 2 teams that are sitting right now on that proverbial college football playoff bubble, we're talking about Notre Dame, We're talking about Miami. We're talking about Texas. We're talking about Vanderbilt. At least two of those teams' bubbles is going to bust. Bust wide open. And here's why. Because the committee is going to only take, they're going to take the conference championships that are ranked, high. If Duke wins, they're not going to be ranked. So that means one of the, it could be, and remember, James Madison is now ranked in the college football playoff top 25. So is Tulane. So is North Texas. So if Duke wins, even though they will not be ranked, if Duke wins, they got to take the highest ranking conference championship winner. And none of them, and if Duke wins, they're not going to be ranked higher than James Madison or North Texas or Tulane if any one of those three teams win their prospective conference championship games. So that could literally mean ACC may not get a team in. Miami might get the boot. Virginia's only way in to the college football playoff, they got to win this game. They have to win this game this weekend. That's their only path in. They lose, they're out. Remember, it's the highest ranking conference championship winners get in. If Duke's a conference championship winner, they're not going to be ranked higher than anybody. And they're not even going to be in the college football playoff top 25. They're not even going to be ranked. So what that happens, ACC is highly possible that the ACC may not get a team in. Miami will be out. Virginia. Those are the only two teams that are ranked right now high enough to get into the college football playoff. And both of them are sitting on bubbles. Problem is, Miami can't do nothing about their bubble. They have to watch. They're not in the conference championship game. Virginia, they win, they're in. Because they'll be ranked higher than James Madison and North Tulane and all that. So they get in. So they'll get in if they win. If they lose, ACC might be asked out. Now, I'm going to give you my picks on who I think will win these conference championship games tomorrow on Pick'em Friday. But let's look into this. What does Duke need to do to win? According to ESPN, what they need to do, because Virginia beat Duke earlier this year, is they need to stop the run. Duke needs to keep Virginia from going crazy on them on the run. In the previous meeting between these two, Virginia ran for 224 yards. They got to stop that. Duke needs to stop the run. Plus, they need to be able to throw Morris. He needs time to throw. He needs time to throw. Their quarterback, Morris, he will need time. He will need their offensive line to give them time to throw the ball. So, that's simple for Duke. Duke needs to stop Virginia from running roughshod all over them. And they need to give their quarterback time to throw the ball in the pocket. If Virginia's defensive line or front seven harasses Morris, making him throw out of the pocket, he's susceptible to being picked off or overthrowing his receivers or being picked off. So that's what Duke needs to do to win. That's what Duke needs to do to have a chance to win. Okay? Now, what Virginia needs to do to win, simple, run the ball. Simple. Run the ball, stop the run, they'll do it. Virginia has better talent, a lot more talent on their team than Duke. That's a done deal on that. But Virginia needs to play into their mind. Okay? They needs to play into their mind. The quarterback, Chandler Morris, he threw for 316 yards against Duke earlier in the year. If he can duplicate or come close to duplicating that performance, and they get that running game going like they did against Duke, Virginia will win this game in a walk. Virginia will win this game in a walk if they can get those two elements working. In other words, give Morris time to throw and run the ball the way they did earlier in the earlier previous meeting. But you can't count out Duke. They got here. You can't count Duke out, even though they have 5 losses. They got here somehow, some crazy way. They got here. Yeah, you could say the ACC's tiebreaking system is messed up. It's flawed. It needs to be fixed. What have you? That's an argument for another day. Duke's here now. And this is the conference championship game. So it's like, forget how they got here. They're here. And in the conference championship game, could be your last game of the season before the bowls. This will be your last game of the season before the bowls or the playoffs. You might as well let it all hang out. What do you have to lose? And if I'm Duke, that's what I'm thinking. That's my mindset. What do we have to lose? We ain't supposed to be here. We're not supposed to be here. We were 7-5. How the hell did we get here? Well, don't matter now. We're here. We might as well go out here and try to kick this team's ass and keep them out of the playoff. Spoil their season. I bet you that's what Duke's thinking right now. They're thinking we're not supposed to be here. So what do we have to lose? Well, we're going to a bowl game, and that might not be one of them shiny New Year's Day bowl games, but we're going to one. Well, so why don't we just try to go to one as the ACC champion? Bet you that's what they're thinking. And they have every reason to think that. They're here. They might as well go for it. Because Duke could ruin not only Virginia's season, but a couple of other teams' season that's hanging in the bubble in the college football playoff. Ruin their seasons. And it will really bring fire on the ACC. And it will, and I guarantee you, Duke win this game, there's going to be some changes on how that tiebreaker is shaked out in the ACC, because they will not let something like this happen again if Duke wins this game. If Virginia wins this game, they're in, and they'll elevate somebody else. It probably will help. It probably will benefit, if anyone, either Notre Dame, Texas, or Vanderbilt. One of those two teams will benefit. It might even benefit Miami. One of those 2 teams, one of those 4 teams will benefit if Virginia wins. If they lose, all bets are off. So I know that I'm pretty sure I can bet my last dollar that there are going to be upwards to 4 teams that are going to be eyeballing this game. Because, let's face it, their college football playoff chances will be on the line when Duke and Virginia get down at 8 o'clock on Saturday. Like I said, I'll make my picks on who I think will win on tomorrow's show. Now, the other conference championship game that's going to have some eyeballs on it, like as far as college football playoff hopefuls, is the Big 12. BYU against Texas Tech. That game is noon Saturday, noon Eastern Saturday. So that's going to be the first. That's the first of the major conference championship games that will be played. Now, I'm pretty sure that Notre Dame, especially Notre Dame fans, have become Texas Tech fans. I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it. And here's why. Texas Tech is getting into the college football playoff whether they win or lose this game. It's been established. We all know that. They're in because they're ranked 4th. In the current college football playoff rankings, Texas Tech is 4th. So even if they lose this game, even if they get bombed in this game, they're still in. They'll still be in. I don't see them getting bombed. I don't think anybody's seeing them get bombed. But even if Texas Tech loses this game, they're in. They won't. Their only question would be, if they win, will they get a first round bye? If they lose, will they be able to host a playoff game? However, if BYU wins, one or two of those bubble teams are gone. Because BYU, being ranked 11th, they're getting in. Being ranked 11, remember, it's the highest ranking conference championship winners that get in. So BYU is ranked 11th. So if they win, they'll definitely be ranked higher, probably higher than Texas Tech, which means one of those bubble teams' bubble is just going to be busted wide open. And it might be Notre Dame. I'm thinking it could be Notre Dame because, let's face it, Notre Dame's been on a roll, but they do have 2 losses, and their biggest win was against USC, and USC ain't going to the college football playoff. That was their biggest win of the season. So their bubble, and we're looking at body of work. BYU picks off Texas Tech and wins the Big 12. Their body of work will put them high, and they're getting in. Texas Tech will be getting in, which means one spot will be removed. If BYU loses, they're out. Let's face it, they're out. There's too many bubble teams that would jump them if BYU loses. And these are bubble teams that ain't even playing this weekend, but they'll jump them. They'll definitely jump based on strength of schedule, strength of record, and what have you. If BYU loses, that probably will enhance. They will definitely enhance Notre Dame's chances. It will definitely enhance Miami's chances. It might even enhance Texas and Vanderbilt's chances. Not by much, but it will enhance them a little bit. That's if BYU lose. If BYU wins this game, Notre Dame might be out. Miami will be out. Texas ain't got a chance. That's what I'm predicting. If BYU wins this game, both those 2 teams are getting in. Both Texas Tech and BYU. They will both be in the college football playoff, which means one at-large bid will be gone from either Notre Dame, Texas, Miami, and Vanderbilt. One of those teams ain't getting in. Maybe all of them may not get in. It's only 12 spots. And I already rattled off who I think was getting in based on conference. I said 5 from the SEC, 3 from the Big 10, 1 or 2 from the Big 12, depending on how that conference championship game gets out. That's 9 or 10 right there. And then you got to get one of the group of 5 in, the highest ranking group of 5. One of them are getting in. Whoever wins the conference championship and is the highest ranking, one of them are getting in. That leaves one at-large spot. And the ACC. It might be Miami. It might not. It might be Notre Dame. It may not. All those bubble teams, Texas, who have been campaigning like they're campaigning to be the next president of the United States. They're campaigning to get that last spot, and I don't think and we've already been over that. And then you got Vanderbilt, who I believe is more qualified than Texas, than Miami, and Notre Dame. Yes, I know Vanderbilt lost to Texas head-to-head. But remember, Vanderbilt only got 2 losses. Texas has 3. That's the disqualifier right there. That's why I believe Vanderbilt should get in, depending on how these conference championships shake out. Now, BYU, what they need to do to win the game? play some defense. That's what, in my eyes, that's what I think BYU needs to do. Play some damn defense. I know that the defense has been wishy-washy. They can score, yeah. But their defense is, in my eyes, been wishy-washy all year. And Texas Tech can put up some points. I mean, they put up 29 on them when they beat them when they played each other this regular season. I believe Texas Tech won 29-7. BYU, for them, in my eyes, the key for them to win this game, play some defense. Get some stops. You cannot let Texas Tech air raid it all over you like they did when they met in the regular season. BYU, if you want to win this game, you got to get some stops. You got to put some stops on them. I don't care how you do it. I don't care what you need to do it. For you to win this game, BYU Cougars, you got to play some defense. That's it. Texas Tech, what they got to do, what I believe they got to do to win the Big 12 championship game, do what they did before. Run the ball, throw it. Throw the ball. And I believe Texas Tech really hasn't hit their stride yet at 11-1. They really haven't yet hit their stride. But they can. Their quarterback, Baron Morton, he's pretty good. And he's still figuring it out. That's the scary thing about Texas Tech. Their quarterback, to me, is still figuring things out. And if he gets to figure it out this Saturday, whoa. This could be a blowout. I'm not predicting who, like I said, I'll make my predictions tomorrow. But that's how I feel. Texas Tech, the quarterback is still figuring things out. Let them figure it out. And they just need to keep rolling. Keep the chain moving on offense. Dare BYU to try to stop you. And they got to pick a way to stop you, either on the ground or in the air. That's what I believe. They need to dictate the tempo of the game. That's all Texas Tech need to do. Dictate the tempo. BYU, I don't know if BYU knows how to play fast. I haven't seen them do that. If Texas Tech dictates the tempo, they should win this game in a walk. But if they let BYU get some stops and let them dictate tempo on offense, hey, could be an upset. We'll see. But again, this is another one of those conference championship games that a lot of teams on that bubble are going to be eyeballing. And this is the first one of the day on Saturday. Because a lot of bubbles can be busted by 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon. We don't know. But this is one of them. This one and the ACC. Those are the two conference, and those are the two of the lesser ones. But those are the two conference championship games. I'm pretty sure a lot of those bubble teams in the college football playoff are going to eyeball. I bet that. Big O with the big mouth. Total Sports Ozone. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like what I'm saying, if you like what you see, if you like what I'm talking about, or even if you don't like what I'm talking about, hit me up with a comment and let me know what you think. I always like to hear what the other fans think. This is just a fan talking to the fans. That's all I am. All right, let's keep going. The Big Ten championship game. Number 1 versus number 2. One of the few number 1 versus number 2 conference championship games in college football history. I think there's been 2 others, I think. But this is the first time in Big Ten history where the conference championship game has been decided by the number 1 and the number 2 teams in the country. Ohio State coming in number 1 versus Indiana coming in number 2. This game will take place Saturday night at 8 o'clock Eastern. Woo! What each team needs to do to win. Well, Indiana needs to do, this is a Buckeye fan talking, what I believe Indiana needs to do to have a chance to pick off Ohio State. Now, remember, you guys, remember this. Indiana has not beaten Ohio State since 1988. That's right, 37 years. Indiana has not beaten Ohio State, either on the road, at home, or in a neutral site since 1988. So this will be a historic win for Indiana if they were able to beat Ohio State. In many ways, it will be a historic win for Indiana. How do they do it? Well, it's almost like Indiana and Ohio State are mirrors of each other. They are. They have each team has two Heisman Trophy candidates at quarterback. Each team has dynamic wide receivers. Indiana, Omar Cooper and Curry. Omar Cooper and I think they have another one. I forgot the name. Surratt or something like that. Ohio State has Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate. But what separates Indiana from Ohio State? Indiana runs the ball. Indiana is ninth nationally in rushing at 229.8 yards per game on the ground. And they've had, I believe, 5 or 6 games where they ran for over 300 yards. If they can do that against Ohio State, run the ball that effectively against Ohio State, and no team has been able to do that all year long. But if they can do that, because with Mendoza, because Indiana's offense is really balanced. You have, the way they can run the ball, but most of their yards, the rushing they get in second half. In the first half, they throwing the ball, and they got Mendoza with Cooper and Surratt. They got weapons on at wide receiver. They have weapons out on the edge that can beat teams deep, and you got a very smart quarterback in Mendoza who can also run the ball. So if they can get a really good running attack like they've been doing all year against Ohio State, they have a great chance. But mind you, Ohio State doesn't have to let too many teams run a rush out over them. Michigan tried, they couldn't do it. Michigan tried, they couldn't do it. Penn State tried, they couldn't do it. A lot of teams have not been able to run the ball against Ohio State. And remember, Ohio State has only given up 9 touchdowns on the season. Only giving up 9 touchdowns. So if Indiana can run the ball and control that line of scrimmage like they've been doing most of all year, they got a good chance. They got a really good chance. But they got to remember they're playing against the number 1 defense in the country in total yardage and in points. Now, what must Ohio State do for them to remain number 1 and be the number 1 and Big Ten champion and have the number 1 seed and everything that goes along with that? Keep doing what they're doing. That's all. They need to keep doing what they're doing. They, a controlled passing attack that is not going to wow everybody, but, Julian's saying he doesn't make too many mistakes. And when he does, and if he does, he's always atoned for him. And it seems like with the defense Ohio State has, if Julian saying makes a mistake, it doesn't really hurt the team that much. He threw an interception the second play of the game against Michigan. They held him to 3 points. Deep in Ohio State territory. Michigan couldn't get in his zone. Ohio State held him to 3. So like I said, with a defense like that, playing good pickup football, picking up the offense when it makes a mistake, Julian's saying all he needs to do is not turn the ball over. They just need to do what they keep doing. They have 2 of the best wide receivers in the country. Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate. There's no doubt about that. 2 of the best in the country. And now the running game is starting to take hold with Bo Jackson. The running game is starting to take hold. If it can keep the chains moving, and not turn the ball over, because this Indiana defense is this second best defense in the Big Ten and probably nationally. They don't give up too many points either. They just don't. But I think the reason why Indiana's defense doesn't give up too many points is because they blow you out. They blow teams out early, and the other team is resorting to having to throw the ball for the rest of the game just to try to catch them. So that might be a wash. It may not. It may be. It may not. We don't know. But I think Ohio State, what they need to do is keep doing what they're doing. That's all they need to do. Keep doing what they're doing, but might have to ratchet up a little bit because this is the best team they played all season. Would be the best team they have played all season long. Now, I'm not going to give you my pick, but that's my keys to that game. Indiana, control the line of scrimmage, do what they're running. Ohio State, keep doing what you're doing. But just might have to ratchet it up a little, about a notch or two more, but keep doing what you're doing. All right? Now, SEC championship game. I believe that's mid-afternoon, if I'm not mistaken. SEC championship game is at 4 p.m. Eastern. Georgia against Alabama. Now, my opinion, Georgia's in whether they win or lose. We all know that. It's all dependent. If Georgia wins, they get a first round bye. If they lose, they'll probably be hosting a playoff game. Alabama is different though. They win, of course, they're in, and they'll probably host a playoff game. If they lose, that's 3 losses. Do you keep them? Do you keep them in, or do you punish Alabama for playing in the SEC? I can't see the committee leaving Alabama out, even if they lose. I can't see them leaving them out, and they're playing in the SEC championship game, even if they have 3 losses. So I believe Alabama is safe either way, because I just don't see the committee doing that. And now I know Texas fans will be mad as all get out if that happens. But Texas, you're sitting at home watching these conference championship games. You ain't playing in it. So win or lose, I think Alabama should not be punished, especially if they lose to the number 3 team in the country. So win or lose, both these teams are in it. It's just all about seeding. It's all about seeding. Like I said, Georgia win, they're going to get a first round bye. If they lose, they'll probably host the first round playoff game. Alabama, if they win, I don't think it'll bump them up high enough to get a first round bye. I don't think so. They shouldn't. But they definitely will be getting a home playoff game. That's going to bump some teams down if they win. My keys to whoever wins, Gunnar Stockton needs to. All Gunnar Stockton needs to do is not turn over the ball. He did that against Bama. And he doesn't need to turn the ball over. That's all. If they don't turn the ball over, Georgia might just enough defense to be able to handle Alabama, because quite frankly, Alabama hasn't been running the ball well all this year. Not at all. They really haven't. So what Alabama must do, play that defense. The defense is the better part of them. That's all they got to do. The defense is getting better. It's not all the way there, but they got to just hold Georgia at bay. And trust Simpson. Simpson has to trust himself. He has to trust his receivers, because I'm pretty sure you ain't going to be running the ball. Alabama ain't going to be able to run the ball too well against Georgia. I know that. I know that for a fact. So they got to be able to trust his receivers. Simpson has to be able to trust his receivers, especially Ryan Williams. Got to trust them to make those big plays. We'll see what happens. I'll make my pick for this game tomorrow, who I think will win. But like I said, these two teams to me are safe. I don't think the committee, like I said, I do not think the committee is going to punish Alabama if they lose this game by kicking them out. I don't think so. So both these teams are safe. It's just a matter of where they be seated. All right. That's the conference championship games. Do you also have the American Championship game against Tulane and North Texas? That game is tomorrow at 8. That could put somebody in and it could boot somebody out, depending on how those two conference championship games, the ACC and Big 12, play out. We'll find out. We're gonna find out about all this tomorrow or Saturday. Best believe that. Big O with the big mouth, Total Sports Ozone. Now, here's my thing. College football playoff definitely needs to be fixed for the future. There's always going to be teams grumbling and mumbling and bumbling and mad that they got left out. Even now that the field has been expanded to 12 teams. There's still going to be teams grumbling and thinking, oh, we should be in. We got a better resume than an A and B team and this team. So it's all going to be like this. I just don't think it should be up to a committee to determine that. So, because what do they know? Here's what I think. No, I don't think we should go back to the BCS computer formula. We all know how much of a mess that was. We're going back to BCS. But why don't we do it like this? I'm throwing this out. You tell me what you think. All right? You got the Power 4 conferences, ACC, Big 12, Big 10, and SEC. Then you got the group of 5, American, Sun Belt, blah, 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 blah. Right? Why don't we do it like this? Every team in the Power 4 and the group of 5 conferences plays 12 games. 12 games. No more than 3 non-conference games. No more than 3 non-conference games. You can schedule 2. You can schedule 3. However you want to do it. Each team gets 1 bye week, not 2. Make it fair. Each team gets 1 bye week. Now, instead of using a committee to rank these teams, why don't we use the polls that we've been using for years, decades? The AP and the coaches poll. Both those polls are based on a points ranking. The more points a team gets, the higher their ranking, correct? So, same thing with the coaches poll, AP coaches poll. So, what you do is you take those points from both polls, from the teams from both polls, add them together, divide by 2. That's your poll average. Wherever your poll averages lands you, that's the college football playoff rankings. Wherever your poll average lands you. Here's the caveat, though. You don't start the AP and the coaches poll until every team has played at least 6 games. At least 6 games. You don't start these polls in preseason. You don't start these polls in week 1. You don't when everybody's playing cupcakes. You don't start this poll in week 2 when everybody's still playing cupcakes. You start the polls. The initial poll should be after every team has played their 6th game. That's halfway through the season. Halfway. That way you played your cupcakes and you played at least, at that point, you had 6 games in. You played at least 2, possibly 3 conference games. 2 or 3 conference games. Every team. Regardless of conference. There you go. And then You're playing. Those last 6 games don't mean something. Those last 6 games, or 5 or 6, or depending, those games gonna mean something because now you gotta watch the poll. You gotta watch where you land in the polls. Yes, the conference championships, it still should be played, whatever, but they ain't gonna mean much. Because the last poll at the end of the regular season is the one that matters. The last poll at the end of the regular season. That's it. That's it. The last poll, yeah, you can have your conference championship. If they're ranked, if those teams are ranked, then the conference championships, 1, 2, 3, 4. The highest ranking of those conference championships, they get first round buys. The highest ranking of those conference championship winners get first round buys. And that includes the group of 5. American, Conference USA, said, well, the 4 teams that are ranked, the 4 teams that have won their conference championships and they're ranked, highest rankers get the 4 playoff buys. Everybody else is based on your poll average for the last poll average of the regular season. There you go. The top 12, get in. You missed it by a point, too bad. And then we can take out strength of schedule and all that. Oh, well, you should have won your games. That mean they're changing the schedules anyway. They're talking about taking away the blue bloods not playing other blue bloods early in the season because it might hurt them in the college football playoff committee's eyes or whatever. Well, why don't you win the games? But you're playing your conference. In my scenario, the rankings don't come out until midway through the season. We talking about, forget the damn committee. Ain't no committee. We using the polls. The polls that we've been using for decades. The AP poll and the coaches poll. You smash those points together, divide by 2, simple math. That's your poll. That's a team's poll average. If your final poll average lands you in the top 12, bam. Or if they even expand to 16, I'm all for expanding to 16. But it's still same formula. Take the 2 major polls, smash them together, divide by 2. And if the final poll average at the end of the regular season, forget conference championship game. If your final poll, well, we can add the conference championship games in. So after the conference championship games have been played, final poll average. If it lands you in the top 12 or if they expand the top 16, you in. And then they do it just like they do the NCAA tournament. Top four, top 8 get buys, and then you work it down from there. And then you work it down in there, get it down from 16 to 12. 16. Excuse me. 16 to 8 to 4 to 2. Boom. There you go. We got a national champion. And it's decided not by committee who gets in, by the polls. And the polls don't come, like I said, the polls do not come out. The AP and the coaches poll should not, the initial poll should not come out in preseason. Because we all know the preseason AP and coaches polls don't mean shit. As we saw this year, they don't mean shit. Texas was preseason number 1. Penn State number 2. Clemson was up there, what are they, 4th, 5th? Where are those teams at? Texas is begging to get in. Penn State and Clemson aren't even on the. Penn State and Clemson. Penn State is were barely bowl eligible. So the preseason polls don't mean shit. And that's why I say start the polls, both the AP and the coaches poll, right in the middle of the season. When after every team in every conference has played at least 6 games. That means they played 2 or 3 Non-conference, they played the cupcakes. And then they played at least 3 conference games. 3! It'll probably get them to schedule their matchups with the biggest teams in the conference early. Or if you get in some advantage, you can schedule them late when the polls are rolling. And then now you're playing them big boys in your conference. The Georgia's playing the Alabamas. The LSU's playing the Ole Misses. You know, the Oregons are playing Ohio States. The Michigans are playing the Indianas, and so on and so forth. You're scheduling them later on in the season. That makes for great matchups later on in the season. Ain't gonna be too many duds later on in the season. Everybody's playing. You ain't playing on no cupcakes. You got to play the big boys in your conference so you can get your rankings up so you can possibly make the playoffs. See what I'm saying? See what I mean? Forget the committee. Go with the polls. But start the polls at the middle of the season. Everybody plays 12 games. You play at least 2 or 3 non-conference and 9 conference games. 9. You play 9 conference games. Boom. There you go. There you go. Basically, you're doing it like the FCS. You know, Division I AA FCS, how they do it. You know what I mean? And I don't see why it won't work. It's more money. It's more money because you're playing 1 extra game. Only thing that might hinder it is when classes start and the kids with the school scheduling it, that might have to be worked out, might have to be tweaked, adjusted a little bit. But I think that would work. I personally think that would work. You forget the committee and go with what we've been using to rank these teams for decades. The AP and the coaches poll. That's what I think. For those of y'all that don't get it, I'll say it one more time. Running light on time. Say it one more time. Every team plays 12 games. You play 3 non-conference or around that, 2 or 3. And you play at least 9 conference games, right? You do away with the committee. You use the AP and the coaches polls because they rank teams based on how many points they've accumulated. First team votes get so many points. Second place votes get so many points, and so on and so forth. And that gets you your polling point count, right? The higher the points, the higher your rank. You do that same thing with the coaches poll. You take those 2 polls, you smash those point totals together, you divide by 2. That gives you your national poll average. If you're at the end of the season, when after the conference championships have been played, if your poll averages lands you in the top 12, regardless of conference, you're in. Or if they expand to 16 teams, which I believe they should do, their poll average lands you in the top 16, you're in. You are in. Period. What do you think? Am I crazy? Do you think there's another better way? If you have a better way, please let me know. Drop me a comment. Let me know. I would love to know if you have a better way of fixing the college football playoff. Because we all know it needs to be fixed. Definitely. So let me know. Leave a comment and please don't forget to like and subscribe to my page. I really will appreciate it. And oh, by the way, I am now. I have a TikTok and Instagram. Total Sports Ozone. All one word. Total Sports Ozone. I have TikTok and Instagram. I post the clips of my big mouth running my big mouth, and probably have some more surprises in the future posted on those pages. So Total Sports Ozone, TikTok and Instagram. Look for me there. Now, running tight on time, so let me get to the NFL because I did promise I would preview tonight's game. And tonight's game is a biggie. Woo! The Detroit Lions entertaining the Dallas Cowboys. Big game. Big game for both teams. Both teams need a win badly to keep their playoff hopes going. I don't know which team needs it more, Dallas or Detroit. But both teams need it. I believe I saw this morning in the metric that Dallas's playoff chances goes up to anywhere from 34 to 41% if they win tonight's game. If they lose, it go down from anywhere to 5 to 8%, depending on the metric. So Dallas definitely needs to get this game. I believe Detroit, if they win this game, their playoff hopes jump up to anywhere from 50 to 56% with a win tonight. If they lose, they drop down from anywhere from 18 to 26%. So to say the tonight's game is a big one is an understatement. And we're getting into that time of the year where every game as far as playoff hopefuls in both conferences, every game is meaningful from here on out. Okay, every game is meaningful, and this one is the first one. Now I said maybe a week or so ago that Dallas, after they had beaten the Raiders, I said they were in that 3-game gauntlet, and I said Dallas needed to win if they wanted to have any chance of making a playoff run. They needed to win 2 of the next 3 games. They've done that. They beat the Eagles. And then on that Thursday, Thanksgiving, they beat the Chiefs. So they won the 2 of the 3. But if they can get this win tonight and complete that 3-game gauntlet with all wins, y'all better watch out for the Dallas Cowboys. Because they're going to be coming. And one team that better be looking like I said on a previous show, they better be looking in the rearview mirror is the Philadelphia Eagles. They be looking out of that side mirror where it says, objects in mirror are closer than they appear. Because that's who's going to be coming. That blue star. And they're going to be a little closer than that. I'm pretty sure a lot of Eagle fans going to want them to be at this point in the season. And with the Eagles' struggles on offense, if the Cowboys can get this win tonight, boy, that's a lot of pressure. The Eagles going to have a lot of pressure because they win tonight, they're on a game back. With the Eagles still having to play this Sunday. With the Eagles having to play, I think, they're only a game back if the Cowboys get this win tonight. Now, my question is, can they get the win tonight? It's hard. It's not going to be easy because you're dealing with a Detroit Lions team that's desperate. They look pretty bad. They did not look good at all on Thanksgiving against the Green Bay Packers. And I'm pretty sure the Lions don't want to slip too far behind in the pecking order in the NFC. And they will if they lose this game. But my problem with the Lions lately has been their defense has not been what it was last year even the year before. The defense has been prone to giving up big plays and points, especially at home for some reason. I don't understand it, but that's what they've been doing, and they've struggled. Now offensively, I still think if Amon-Ra St. Brown is able to play tonight, their offense is still going to be formidable. It's formidable. Jahmyr Gibbs with Jared Goff throwing, Jahmyr Gibbs, LaPorta. I don't know if he's on there, but LaPorta and the rest. That's a formidable offense. You got to deal with them. Montgomery and Gibbs out of that backfield. That's a big time 2-headed monster at running back. And if Amon-Ra St. Brown play, like I said, and Dallas's defense is just now trending up a little bit. And they went from hot garbage ever since they made that trade and got Quentin Williams. they went from hot garbage to just below average. And that's a vast improvement for the Cowboys defense. Now, if their defense can do what they've been doing the last 2-3 weeks, and that is give the offense a chance, keep the team in the game. The Dallas Cowboys defense, if it keeps the Cowboys in the game with the offense that the Cowboys have, Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, Ferguson, Devontae, that offense can score points on anybody's defense if they can take care of the ball. So this could be a shootout tonight. I'm pretty sure it could be a shootout tonight. If both teams take care of the ball, it could very well be last team who has the ball wins. I would not be surprised if it comes down to that. Last team with the ball has a chance to win the game. But both these teams need this win. I wanted to get into a lot of other teams that needed wins this weekend in the NFL. We're running out on time because I went over with the college football playoff and all that stuff. But we can get into that and another day. Probably can get into that tomorrow if we have time. But as for tonight, I'm going to make my pick tonight. With the Cowboys, it's a tough pick. It really is a tough pick. It is this because I don't know. I want to believe that the Cowboys defense has made enough improvements to be able to keep this team going. Keep this team alive and going. But this is the best team they're going to be playing on the road since they made that trade at the trade deadline. I mean, they had a road game and it was the Raiders. Who cares? This is the Detroit Lions, a desperate Detroit Lions team. I don't know if Dallas's defense, this would be the first test to me as far as can their defense hold up on the road. Their new look defense, can it hold up on the road? Because if they make it to the playoffs, you best believe they're going to be doing some traveling. Okay? So we need to know. I need to know. Can this defense hold up against a very formidable offense on the road? We'll find out tonight. But I don't think so. I'm going to take Detroit. Detroit is favored on one of the sports books at 3.5 points. I'm going to take Detroit and get laid at 3.5. But I'm going to take over on the over-under. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. Over-under 54.5. I'll go over on that. I'm going to go the over on that. I think it's going to be a very high-scoring and probably very entertaining game for Thursday night. We'll talk about the aftermath of this game tomorrow. Also, on tomorrow's show will be Pick'em Friday. I will make my picks for all the conference championship games in college football and the rest of the NFL for week 14. We're going to do that tomorrow here in the Total Sports Ozone. Have a great day.